بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. So inshallah, if you're listening to today's broadcast, I'm sure you recognize that introduction. Um, this is the introduction that we covered in the previous recording. And for those of you who are in the class, we covered this introduction called Al Muqaddimah. And this is the introduction into the khutbah that you are giving, inshallah. So hopefully you've had a chance to listen to this recording and to practice, because practice makes perfect, as they say. And what you want to do is you want to be able to um, uh, read the uh, opening, or to say the opening with as very with as little, I should say, with as little stumbles or pauses or you know um, breaks in the reading as possible, um, because as we also covered in the class, although many hold the position that Arabic is not the dominant language of the khutbah, meaning the entire khutbah does not have to be in Arabic, it is still um, recommended, in fact, highly encouraged, that at least a part of the khutbah is in Arabic. And your opening remarks is one of the ways that you fulfill this requirement. And today we're going to look at your closing remarks. Okay, so these are just the remarks that lead you into your khutbah. And then today we're going to cover the words or the remarks that wrap up your khutbah. Okay, so as we mentioned previously, you want to begin your khutbah out with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you want to praise Allah, you want to give glory to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you want to send prayers and say prayers upon Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. And in this regard, the closing remarks are similar. So the closing remarks are the remarks that you use to wrap up your khutbah, and your exit remarks are also about praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, exhorting the believers to remember what Allah wants of them, what Allah requires of them. And as we'll come to see, these closing remarks can vary, but they should include this passage that we are going to read and inshallah learn from the Quran, from Surah An-Nahl, or the Bee. And this verse is standard in reading and understanding, um, reading and reminding the believers of the purpose of coming to Jumu'ah. Okay, so having said that, we're going to jump right in. And at the bottom of the screen, we have the words of the closing. And as I mentioned, the closing is called Al Khitam. I probably didn't mention that. But the closing of the khutbah is called Al Khitam. And the word khitam in Arabic means the final point, right? The end. So, what is the ending? What is the last thing that you want to leave the believers with? Inshallah, in class, we'll cover just a brief history of the different ways that you can close out your khutbah. Um, the thing that you want to do is, because the khutbah is such a formal presentation, you want to follow the uh, most practiced tradition, okay, among the Muslims. And so, among the believers, among the Muslims, the tradition of closing out the khutbah always included this verse or words that um, carried the meaning of this verse. So, for example, this particular closing is the closing that was and is still to this day used by the imams in the both the harams in Mecca and in Medina, the big grand mosque, the Prophet's mosque in Medina. The imam for Jumu'ah always closes the khutbah out with these words: عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. So that's part. Then he says, فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Now, I know that this is a mouthful, brothers and sisters, right? And it's a lot of Arabic, but I'm going to make this very easy for you. So, first of all, this is a verse from the Quran. So, the best way to memorize this closing and to use it is two ways to do it. One, that you actually memorize the verse. And as I mentioned, the verse is from Surah An-Nahl, or the bee. Um, and I'll give you the verse number in 1 second, right? So that's the first thing that you want to do. You want to memorize the verse, right? Um, and this will help you tremendously. And then after that, every time you give a khutbah, you want to close the khutbah with the following words: servants of Allah, verily Allah has ordained justice, kindness, and giving to kith and kin. And he forbids corruption, sin, and transgression. He admonishes you in order that you may heed. And then remember Allah, and He will remember you. Thank Him for His bounties, and He will increase you. Verily, the remembrance of Allah is greatest, and Allah is aware of all that you do. Unfortunately, that part, which is the second part, the slide, uh, I mistakenly didn't upload it. So in the class, you'll have the full slides, and you'll see the remaining part of the translation. Again, the best way to memorize this, though, is to memorize it in Arabic. So you memorize this verse, and then you memorize or you familiarize or you read the translation, and you'll see the full translation. So the full translation will be on your slides, and then I have the transliteration, because I want you, this is a kind of a long verse, so I want you to become very familiar with each word in this verse. So we're going to go back to the Arabic slide, and we're going to say it slowly. Okay. Ibadallah with an ain. Ibadallah. Inna Allah ya'muru بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. So we're going to go back. عباد الله. And brothers, remember what we said about pausation. So if you're going to continue, you say عباد الله إن الله, because you're continuing. And whenever you continue, when you're reading the Arabic script, you read all of the vowels. So you read the last vowel because it's a continuity of expression. If you're pausing, and it's perfectly okay to pause here, you would say ibadallah, ibadallah, innallaha ya'muru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Now, again, I know this is a mouthful. I want you to stay encouraged, though, however, because as you listen to this more and more, and as you practice reading it, at reading the actual script of it, you'll be able to eventually actually say these words from memory, and that should be your goal, right? That you are able to read this verse or recite this verse at the end of your khutbah. So we're going to go over it one more time. Ibadallah, inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. And just a sidebar note, I have a little cheat sheet here. I have the translation. I'm sorry, the transliteration, in case you are feeling lazy and you don't want to push through familiarizing yourself with the letters and the vowels. This is the translation. عباد الله إن الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. And then you have فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. So this is the transliteration. And again, just so you know what you're saying, servants of Allah, verily Allah has ordained justice, kindness, and giving to kith and kin, and He forbids corruption, sin, and transgression. He admonishes you in order that you may heed. And again, I want to remind you that the second part or the latter part of this verse didn't upload to the presentation. So the remaining part of it says, so remember Allah, fadhkurullaha, and He will remember you, yadhkurukum, washkuruhu, and be grateful to Him for His bounties, ala ni'amihi, for His bounties, uh, yazidkum, and He will increase you, wala dhikrullahi akbar, and verily the remembrance of Allah is greatest, wallahu ya'lamu ma tasna'un, and Allah is well aware of everything that you do. Okay, so this is the khitam, or the closing remarks of your khutbah. And again, practice makes perfect, brothers and sisters. So you want to really deliver the opening without stumbling, without interruption. It's very important. It's very, very important. Okay. As much as possible, you want to avoid stumbling through these words. And then when you get to the end, you want to avoid stumbling through the ending remarks, because one of the reasons is these are the last things, the last remarks that you're leaving your audience with. So you want to leave them with a lasting impression. And then you want to close your khutbah out with good words of encouragement, because when you read the verse, it reminds all of us that Allah commands the doing justice. Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli. So Allah commands justice, right? And ihsan, goodness, and ita'i dil qurba, to give to kith and kin. So that's one set of ideas. And then وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ وَالْبَغْيِ, and He forbids corruption and sin and transgression, and He admonishes you in order that you may heed. So this is a very powerful reminder for people to walk away with. And this is why you want to master it to the best of your ability, to say it and deliver this strong message without hesitation, without stumbling, you know, because you want to speak it with a voice of certainty, right? And so that comes with practice. So we're going to go over it one more time. Okay. Again, ibadallah, inna allaha ya'muru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. So, inshallah, this is how you close out your khutbah. And I ask Allah Ta'ala to bless you with a tongue that is loose so that you're able to uh, express these words, these powerful words, as succinctly and as clearly as possible. Um, I ask Allah to remove your self doubt and your self questioning around your ability to speak these words. May Allah make it easier for you to say these powerful words as a part of how you end your khutbah. And so, inshallah, with those remarks, we will end with this ending. Ibadallah, inna Allah ya'muru بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.